Hello everybody, welcome to our biology session. I'm Iman Fauzi, your biology teacher. Our session for today will be about completing the axial skeleton. We have talked about part number one, that was vertebral column, and today we will talk about skull and thoracic cage. Okay. Skull, as you see here, is a bony box. Okay, that consists of two parts. If you look here, you will find that we will have posterior part and also you will have anterior part. Okay, the posterior part contains the brain, so we call it the cerebral part, while the anterior part contain the face parts, so we call it as facial parts. Okay, also the posterior part is larger than the anterior part. Although it's larger than the anterior part, but it contains many bones, okay? Less bones than Than the anterior part, okay? So we will have here in the posterior part 8 bones, okay? And the anterior part we will have 14 bones. So the total number of bones here will be what? Will be 22, okay, for what? For the skull. But if you look, okay, at the diagram of the skeleton, you will find that we will have a skull and its what? And its associated parts, okay? The associated parts here, we will have 3 small bones that will be present inside one ear and another 3 bones, okay, in the other ear. So we will have here 6 bones, okay? That's called auditory bones. Also, we will have here another bone that's called hyoid bone. The hyoid bone present above the what? Above the larynx. So we will have here 7 bones that is called the associated bones to the skull. So the skull and its associated bones will be 22 plus 7. So the total number will be 29. Okay. The first part that we will talk about it is the posterior part. It's called cerebral part. We have known that it contains 8 bones, okay, that will be attached firmly to each other. Okay, as you look here, you will find that we will have a serrated tips. These tips are not connected completely to each other from one part to another. Okay, but by passing the time, we will find that the cerebral part will move here and the frontal part will move toward this region. So both of them will meet each other, okay, forming what? Forming a very confirmed connection between them. Okay, so we will have here 8 bones attached firmly to each other and they're serrated what? As their serrated tips to form what? To form a cavity. This cavity that will be present below these parts will enclose the what? The brain. Why we have to put the brain inside the bony box? To protect it against what? Against damage, against any proc that will happen to it. Okay, so the skull protects a very important part of the what? Of the nervous system. That's called the brain. Okay, it's from the central nervous system. Okay, at the base of the what? Of the posterior part, as if you look here, you will find from the inferior view of the skull, we have here what? We have here a hole that is called the foramen magnum. The foramen magnum here will be the place where the what? Where the spinal cord will move, okay, from the end of the brain to the what? To along the vertebral column. Okay, so we will have here what? We will have here the spinal cord. So the foramen magnum through which the brain is connected to the spinal cord. Okay. Also, we will have here an anterior part that's called the facial part. Okay, the anterior part or the facial part, it enclosed the face bones. Okay, as you look here, you will find that we will have 2 jaws, upper jaw, okay, and lower jaw. The upper jaw is fixed while the lower jaw is immovable. Okay, also you will find that we will have the position of the sense organs, but we have here cavities. Okay, cavities for sense organs. As you look here, we will have 2 cavities for eyes, 2 cavities for ear, and 1 cavity for nose. We will have here 5 cavities. Okay, so we have finished what? We have finished the skull as a very important part of the what? Of the axial skeleton. After that, we will talk about what about the thoracic cage, okay? If you look here, you will find that the thoracic cage is slightly conical as you look here, okay? Okay, and also it's attached to each other. If you look here, you will find that it consists of ribs. We have one pair, the second pair, the first pair, second pair, third pair, till the what, till the 12 pair, okay? So we will have here 24 rib or 12 pairs of ribs, okay? Okay, both of them will be connected from the anterior part to a bone that is called what, that is called the sternum as you look here, but the connection is not in a direct way because we have here cartilage, okay? Why we must have a cartilage between any two bone? To prevent what? To prevent the friction that will occur between the two bones, okay? So we will protect it from the corrosion that will happen, okay? Okay, so from the anterior part we will have here the sternum bone, but from the posterior part as you look here, okay, you will find that we have what? We have the thoracic vertebrae, okay? We have here 12 vertebrae that will be attached to the 12 pairs of ribs. So if I ask you about the vertebrae that is present in the thoracic region, you will say that we will have ribs that will attach to it, okay? And also we know from the structure of the vertebrae that the rib is connected to what? The rib is connected to the transverse process and the centrum of the vertebrae, okay? Okay, so if you look here, you will find that the first pairs of rib will be connected to what? Connected to the centrum, not sternum. We have here sternum, but the body of the vertebrae is called what? Is called centrum, okay? And the two transverse process of it, okay? Also, you have to know that we will have 12 pairs of reps, okay? If you look here, you will find that we will have from the pair number 1 till the pair number 7, they are connected directly with their cartilage to the what? To the sternum. But pair number 8, 9, 10, they are enter in what? In the cartilage of rib number what? Number 7, or pair of reps number what? Number 7. So we call the first 7 pairs that are attached with their own cartilage to the sternum, we call them what? We call them true ribs. While the rib or the pair of ribs number 8, 9, 10 that are attached to the cartilage of number 7, of pairs number 7 of the ribs, we call it what? We call it false ribs. So we will have here two types of ribs, true ribs and also false ribs. But we have here 10 pairs of ribs, okay? We have also pair number 11 and pair number 12. They are not attached to what? To the sternum from the anterior part. So we call them the floating ribs, okay? So the floating ribs, they are attached to the what? To the thoracic vertebrae only, not connected from the anterior part to what? To the sternum. Why? To allow a space for the what? For the alimentary canal component that will be present in this region, okay? Okay, but here if I ask you some questions, okay? You know that we will have here numbers of the what? Of the ribs, okay? If I ask you about the first pair of ribs, what is the number of vertebrae that it will be attached to, okay? If you look here, that you will find that the number of pairs, number of pairs 1 will be connected to the first vertebrae of the thoracic vertebrae. But the first vertebrae of the thoracic vertebrae, it will be number 8 from the what? From the vertebral column, because we have 7 cervical vertebrae, okay? So if I wanted to find the number of the vertebrae of the vertebral column that the pair of ribs will be attached to it, we will add what? We will add 7 to the number of paired ribs, okay? So if I ask you about the number of vertebrae of the vertebral column, okay, not from the thoracic vertebrae, that will be attached to the pair of ribs number 3, you will add what? You will add 7, okay? So 3 plus 7, it will be the vertebrae number 10 from the vertebral column, okay? Okay, طب if I ask you about the first floating rib, it will be attached to vertebrae number what? The first floating rib is number 11, so we will add 11 plus what? plus 7. So the vertebrae that will be attached to it will be number 18. Okay, but if I ask you about the number of vertebrae that will be attached to the second floating rib, the second floating rib will be number 12. Okay, so we will add 7 to it. So the number of vertebrae will be 12 plus 7. That will be equal what? 19. Okay, so here we have answered all the questions that belong to this part. Also, if I wanted to ask you about the number of bones that will be present in the thoracic cage, okay? If you look here, you will find that we have 24 rib, okay? And also we will have one bone that is called the sternum. And also we will have 12, what? 12 thoracic vertebrae. So the total number of bones that will be present in the thoracic cage will be 24 plus 1 plus what? Plus 12. So the total number here will be what? Will be 37. Okay, so the total number of bones that will be present in the thoracic cage will be 37. But if I ask you about the number of bones that will be present in the following figure, okay, if this figure will be present in your exam and he asks you about the total number of bones that will be present in it, okay? If you look here, you will find that we have what? We have 37 bones of the rib cage, okay? Or of the thoracic cage. As you look here, we will have 24 rib, we will have the sternum, we will have 12 vertebrae, okay? Also, if you look here, we will have the last what? The last cervical vertebrae. And also you will have here cervical vertebrae number what? Number 6, okay? So you will have here 2 also. So you will have 37 plus 2, okay? And also if you look here, you will find that we will have here vertebrae number 20 and vertebrae number what? Vertebrae number 21. So we will have here also 2, okay? And also if you look here, you will find that we have the clavicle bone and the scapula bone and what? And the humerus, okay? So we will have 3 bones. So the total number here will be 37 plus 2 plus 2 plus what? Plus 3, okay? So the total number here will be 44, okay? Okay. Here we will have some definitions. What do we mean by rib? Rib is a curved bone. Why it's a curved bone? So if you look here, you will find that it will be bent in a curve as you look here, okay? So it's a curved, what? It's a curved bone that will be bent to the downward and attached posteriorly to the what? To the sternum as you look here to the sternum and the transverse process of the thoracic vertebrae, okay? And also it's attached from the anterior part to the what? To the sternum. But if this happen, we will call them what? We will call them true ribs or false ribs. But the floating ribs are not attached to the what? To the sternum. What do we mean by sternum? Sternum is a flat bone that is pointed at the lower part. If you look here, you will find that we will have here a cartilage, okay? Why we have here a cartilage, not a bone? Why it's appointed and the lower part of it is a cartilaginous part? Because we have here the muscle of diaphragm, okay? During the respiration, that's called inhalation and exhalation, the diaphragm muscle during the inhalation will be what? Will be moved to downward, okay? But during the expiration, it will move to upward, okay? So during the movement to upward, it will what? It will be attached to the last part of the sternum, okay? So we will have here what? We will have here a connection. If this part is the bone, it will affect on the muscle of the diaphragm. So we must here have a cartilage, okay, to allow what? To allow the movement of the diaphragm with an easy way, okay? Okay. Also, you have to know that the sternum, we have the first 10 pairs of ribs are attached to it, while the first floating and second floating rib not attached to it. Okay. If I ask you also about the function of the thoracic cage, what is the function of the thoracic cage? Thoracic cage play an important role in protection of what? Of the heart and the two lungs, okay? Because the heart will be present here, okay? In the what? In the left side? No, it will be present in the middle, but it will bend, okay? To the what? To the left side. Also, we have here the two lungs, so they help in the what? In the movement of the lung during what? During the inspiration and expiration. How? Because during the inspiration, the ribs moves anteriorly and laterally. Why? To increase the volume of the what? Of the two lungs that will receive the oxygen, okay? And during the expiration, the ribs move posteriorly and medially. Why? To get rid of the excess of carbon dioxide and water vapor, okay? Okay. Also, we have illustrate the key points that will present here. The first point, the total number of thoracic cage bone is 37 bone. Okay, 12 pairs of ribs, so 24, one sternum and 12 thoracic vertebrae. The number of bones that are attached to the sternum, if you look here, the number of bones that will be attached to the sternum, we will have 10 pairs of ribs, okay? So we will have 20 bone. And also, if you look here from this part, we have two clavicle bone that will be attached to what? To the first part of the sternum. So we will have here two bones also. So the total number of bones that will be attached to the sternum will be 22 bones, 10 pairs of ribs, and two clavicle bones, okay? Okay, the number of thoracic vertebrae. Number of thoracic vertebrae, they are equal the number of rib plus what? Plus 7. But they are not equal the number of rib. They are equal to the number of pairs of rib, okay? Okay. So here, if I ask you and if you wanted to test yourself, choose the correct answer. What are the structures through which the rib is connected to the thoracic vertebrae in the opposite figure? Okay, we have to write the labels. Okay, if you look here, we will have number one is the cartilage. Okay, from this part to this part, we have, if you look here, we have a rib. Okay, this rib will bend to downward. So this is the anterior part and this is the posterior part. So here, if I ask you about the what? The structure through which the rib is connected to the thoracic vertebrae, it will be number one and number three. Number two is the anterior articulating process. Number three is the transverse process. Number four, the neural spine. Number five is a posterior articulating process. Okay, so the connection here will be with the what? With the centrum and the transverse process from region number one and region number three. Okay, question number two. The opposite figure represents a part of the human vertebral column. Okay, if the vertebra number one, and if you look here, is connected to the 11th rib, okay, so here the vertebrae is called what? It's called the thoracic vertebrae, okay? So what is the number of this vertebrae? Okay, if you look here, you will find that it will be connected to what? To the rib number 11 or to the pair of rib number 11, okay? So 11 plus 7, so we will have vertebrae number 1, vertebrae number 18, okay? Okay, so after that, 18, 19, 20, 21. So here the vertebrae is called what? It's called 21. Okay, so if I ask you to, what does the vertebra number 2 represent? The 11th thoracic? No. The 12th thoracic? No. The first lumbar is number 20 or number 19. We have from 1 to 7 is a cervical vertebrae, okay? From 8 to what? To 19 is what is a thoracic vertebrae. From 20, okay, to 24, they are lumbar vertebrae. So it's the first lumbar vertebrae, okay? Okay. Sorry, it's the number is the second lumbar vertebrae. Okay, we have here 18, 19. This is the first lumbar and this is the second lumbar. Okay, sorry. Question number 3. The following figure represents two parts from the human skeleton. Which of the following statement is correct regarding to the two figures? Okay, if you look here, you will find that we will have the first cervical vertebrae. Okay, so we will have here the first cervical vertebrae, and here we will have the skull. Okay, okay. So figure number 1 belongs to the axial skeleton. Yeah. Figure number 2, the appendicular skeleton. No, both of them will be to the axial skeleton. Okay. Figure number 2 is connected to figure number 1 through the transverse process. Figure number 2 connected to number 1 through the transverse process. We don't talk about this part in our lesson, okay? So we will leave it now. Each of the two figures, number 1 and number 2, protect the central nervous system. Yeah, okay? So according to our lesson, we know this information, okay? So each of figure number 1 and 2 protected the central nervous system. Why? Because number 1 protect what? Protect the spinal cord, and number 2 protect the brain. Both of them will be the central nervous system. Figure number 1 is from the component of the thoracic cage. No, it's from a component of the cervical vertebrae. And figure number 2 is from the component of axial skeleton. Yeah. Okay, look to answer number B. Figure number 2 is connected to figure number 1 through the transverse process. No, you will have here an articulation, okay? As you see here, we have here a cartilage. This cartilage, okay, it will be connected to this part, okay? Okay. And here we have finished our session for today. Thanks a lot for your listening, and see you in the next session, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum.